So today I'm going to show you how to dig an area level without a laser with the Idig system. It's really straightforward, and especially on a small area like I have here, it's dead easy to do. So I've got to basically dig this area for a container, which are these 4 pins you see here. This is the low point. I know that's my lowest pin. I got this pin here, and then I've got 2 more that are round in this direction. These 2 are higher, and I actually think that one there is the highest corner. That container over there in the distance, what's coming over here, and then I've got the same to do for a toilet block that's going to sit here, another kind of porta cabin toilet block, which is what I've been digging my foul drain for. Anyway, what I can do is making sure that I've got the correct bucket set up, because obviously that's the key with all of this. It doesn't know what it's doing unless it's got the right bucket. So I've got my meter bucket, so I can validate that, so that's all good. That's probably the most common mistake that people make really with this system. I can set myself up, especially in a small area like this, you know, and literally tell it, or it'll tell me what the level difference is. I obviously did this yesterday with the laser because I was setting out with the client I'm working for here, so we kind of worked out where it would go and what he wanted to do. So at the moment, obviously, it's asking me question marks. I haven't referenced anything, so all I do is tell it with the pencil that is my 0, and then I can go around to the next pin and tell it. It'll tell me I'm 40 mil higher there on that pin, or at least across the bucket anyway. It takes the measurement from the sort of middle, or you know, any edge of the bucket. With the tilt rotator, you have to be careful not to tilt it, because obviously that'll give it a false reading, because it doesn't know, because I haven't got my tilt sensors on at the moment, what the edge of the bucket is. When I've got my tilt sensors on, you can literally hold the edge of a bucket on a point and it'll tell you exactly what that is. So that's 20 mil higher, sorry, 200 mil higher. And it's saying 280 there. So you can see how I've got quite a lot of sort of falls over the area. The idea is they want to dig it down 200 mil, so that sticks out the ground a little bit, that end, but not a huge amount. So because obviously the container itself's got a lip on it anyway before you get in the doors. This whole area that we've got over here is all going to be made hard standing, like where the skip is, and down to the doors of this shed. That's all got to be hard standing, but we thought we'd get the containers in and sat on their pads, which is also a job for me to do today, and then we'll work out the levels really from that. It's going to have to be a bit freestyle. But yeah, so anyway, I now know what my points are, so I can actually start digging from this, knowing that I'm 200 mil higher, and it'll work it all out. So I can basically turn back round here to my high point, because I know that's where I want to go down from. I'll set myself up a bit better for digging. I'm not actually going to remove the pin, because I've got to put pads where them pins are anyway, so I'll leave the pins in for now because I know they're set out accurately. So I can go, right, I 0 it, 0.2 is what I'm going down, because it works sort of like that in that sort of decimal. Then it'll tell me I need to dig down 200 mil, or 20 centimetres as it calls it, 0.2 of a metre. This system here, I mean, in a bigger machine obviously this screen would be further away from you and maybe a bit harder to see, and you'd use the traffic lights a bit more. I don't find them that useful, mainly because the most they can be sensitive, the sort of sensitivity settings, I think is 60 mil, I think is the lowest you can go. Now, I'd rather have them like each light that is at 10 mil, so that in theory will be reading me 40 mil, because that's sort of the accuracy I want to go to. At the moment, it's sort of, it's not really any good. You can change all that settings and you can get bigger sort of readings on these lights, so every light could be 200mm to you, but it won't go lower than 60mm, which I think is a bit of a shame, but there's talk of them updating that. And it's so easy to update this. You can plug a USB stick. They send, you know, your dealer can send you a file and through email, stick that on a USB stick, plug it in, and you can update your Idig. So, you know, it's really, really simple to do all of that sort of thing. But anyway, as far as digging goes, it's now telling me I've got to dig down 200mm, which obviously is dead easy. And I can then follow that all the way back. And all I've got to do every time I dig an area, and I track back, obviously the elevation of my digger will change because I'm technically heading downhill if I go backwards. I just got to know that I've got a good area there, you know, in one place, and then when I move, hold my bucket on that spot that I knew was the right level, reference it at 0 again, and then off I go. And you can in theory dig like that for hundreds of meters. Now you probably would end up with you know, a tolerance of maybe 10mm, something like that. It depends how good a driver you are, really. I'm not amazing, but you could potentially accumulate a problem, because obviously if that spot that you hold your bucket on is maybe 10mm out, you move, you reference it again, you're saying it's 0, but it's not, it's 10mm high, let's say, and you could do that 5 or 6 times or whatever over an area, and gain a height difference, if you were doing a large area, that is. But you can obviously use the laser, which I'll do in another video, and that way you can keep it accurate. Every time you move, you rescan the laser and bang, you know you're at the right level. But for small areas like this in particular, the ability to level without getting the laser out the truck, none of that trouble, is really handy. And it's just a nice, quick, easy kind of grade tool. I mean, this container is going to sit on 4 pads, so really all I'm doing here is reducing the ground to allow it to sit down at that level. So it doesn't have to be that accurate, and it's perfect for that. Dead quick, dead easy. Again, no man on the staff outside, and it's super simple. You could also use, in theory, the tape measure function, which when you touch the screen, you get all these extra icons come up. There's a tape measure up here, which you can hold, and that'll tell you where you are now. It obviously zeroes it where I am, and if I turn round and hold the bucket down here at that pin, it'll tell me what my vertical is different to that, it'll tell me what my horizontal is, perhaps that's how far away it is, 6.4 meters. So it'll actually measure from your slew points. It's 2D, you know, it knows which way you're facing and what you're doing. So actually we can try that, because we know a container is 6 meters long, right? So in theory, this might not work, sort of a bit. Right, so I'll zero the tape measure, 0. Everything says 0. If I then hold it on this pin over here, just behind it, as I did the other one, 5.96. So it's not like millimeter tape measure accurate, but it's pretty much telling me, and it might be because I'm on a bit of a hill, or I'm not, you know, I'm not set up level, obviously, I'm on a slope at the moment, but it's pretty much telling me that, you know, it's 50mm off 6 meters away, so that's not bad. You know, I wouldn't use it as an accurate setting out tool like that, but you can get a quick idea of like where you are, or, you know, that kind of thing. It's more handy actually for its slope, so it'll tell you what slope you're at, or what the full gradient is, and that is very useful. Especially, you know, in an area like I've got here, you know, I'll be able to work out what my fall is. I've set up a string line before, used my slope tape measure tool to work out, you know, what's the slope at that point and what's the slope at this point with my dipper, and it'll tell you what that fall is, and then you can continue that like you'd have a string line. It's just a bastard fall you've made between 2 points. You know, it'll work it out. Which for those of us who don't have all this stuff written down on plans about where things are meant to be and all that is really useful. So it's a handy little tool, but again, you have to kind of, you know, use it within sort of parameters. So I'm going to get digging here because I've got a job to do.